Alright, guys, we are back on Monday Night Mayhem a bit later because I got confused with daylight savings time. But apparently, Mr. Suman says now it's 11:30 in Australia. Is that right, Mr. Suman?
Yeah, man. Sorry about that. I didn't realize, but yeah. If I thought like around the world, daylight savings goes everywhere, but I just realized now it's only Australia that the times change or something. I don't know. I
Okay,
guess I guess our moon and sun is a bit different to yours.
okay. So it's safe to say that right now in Sydney it's like 2 hours. It's just 2 hours away from Singapore for the next what 1 year.
I think it's like something like 6 months or something like that. Yeah, 6 months.
All right, man. I'll check that out. But
Yeah.
uh,
Now I'm not the smartest guy, so it's about fight. Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right.
you ask me questions like that, it's like maths. I failed.
All right. You saw on Facebook, Rebel FC just posted Rebel FC next generation. What basically it says is catch the rising stars of the local mixed martial arts scenes in no holds barred amateur MMA competitions. Tickets are priced at $10 each. Contact their numbers for more details or drop us a Facebook message. You have any details about this?
Oh man, like I was reading up on it today, and like I obviously heard the sneaky little rumor here and there about the whole show. I think it's a great idea. I'm guessing that this is obviously from what I read and saw, it's based for amateurs only, um, and it's for the amateurs, the rising stars of Singapore, and it will be served as a bit of a trial to who's gonna take that next step up to the um, bigger show that they're planning to have on their certain date. But it's a great idea, great exposure for Singapore and other local up and coming fighters. Something good to keep them motivated, training towards them, and it's good. Like, see the other Rebel show, Rebel One. I know that they had trials for the show.
Yep.
Now here's another chance for fighters. Like I saw a few of the amateurs. I was one of the amateurs on that show, right? It's a great experience to be a part of such a show that's so big. Um, as an amateur, not many people get that experience and that taste of a professional scene. So it's really good for Singapore. All the young local fighters who want to make it. It's a good way for them to come in. They get their trial, they get their opportunity, and they've got potential to be on their bigger show. It's great, and for $10 a ticket, I think it's great. Like a lot of people should want to go to that show. That's cheap, man. Like I don't know how much tickets usually are in Singapore for local shows or like even bigger shows. I don't even know how much tickets for the last Rebel were, but like for a small show in Sydney, Australia, it's a minimum, 100%. It's a minimum of $50 a show, even
Wow.
if that's only amateurs, and sometimes, sorry to say, like low level amateurs as well. We're paying 50, and it's average. The average is actually now $65 a show. You know, and that's expensive. So for $10 a show, man, that's a bargain. $10 a show, I'd go every night.
No, the thing is, $10 a show in Singapore is unheard of. Venues here are freaking expensive. So
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, Singapore's probably. I've been around the world. I've been everywhere, man. Like, I traveled a lot when I was younger, and I'm still young, but still, I traveled a lot. And lately I've been going places, and I've been going to Thailand, right? So Thailand is cheap as hell.
uh
I went to Singapore thinking it's the same. Singapore is the most expensive place in the world. All right. Me and After the last Rebel, me and Rob Lucida were like, "Hey man," like we went to the after party of the club, and we're like, "Oh man, we just want to go get something to eat because we weren't drinking."
huh.
So I'm like, "Oh, let's go get something to eat." So we went somewhere around the corner. It was a cool little Mexican place. We're like, "Yeah, we'll get tacos or burritos or something." Man, we got like a plate of nachos that like because it looked big. We were like, "Oh, we'll share a plate of nachos." When we came to share a plate of nachos, man, it was a normal sized plate, cost us like $26. So then I don't know. Rob said, it's on me. Don't worry. I just got paid for my last fight. He goes, it's on me. $26. And I looked at him, I go, man, for one plate of nachos, $26 is freaking expensive. And then he's like, do you want a drink? And I'm like, man, I wonder how much the drink's going to be. He ordered himself, I remember, like a small, it was tiny, a small like peach iced tea. It cost him $6.50. Like in our currency, it was like the same. It was $6.50. I'm like, man, what the hell is going on here? Like, even Australia's not that expensive. You know what I mean? Like Singapore's expensive as hell. So I guess like $10 sounds cheap. So I don't even know how much the other shows are. So.
Oh man.
Imagine, and you know what? I've been following a lot of the Singaporean fighters lately. Even the amateurs. You know, I'm watching. Nazri Saturi, I'm watching Muhammad Ashraf, I'm watching all the other guys that just fought on the Rebel, and even other guys, you know, like I'm going through Instagram and I just like looking at it, you know, just to see what's going on in the MMA scene of Singapore. Now, man, you guys fight, your guys come to fight, and you guys train hard. We've got a lot of local amateurs in Australia and some talented guys, but I think the level of training that a lot of the guys in Singapore do, it's not a higher level, but you guys train a lot harder. Man, like, your kids want it, you know, the Singaporean guys want it. So it's a great experience, and I think it's well done to Rebel for wanting to put on this show. And it gets their name out too, you know, they get to throw their name out, they get to give back to the community, and the community hopefully will be able to put on a show. And I know you Singaporean fighters always do.
No, the disappointing thing about this is it's gonna happen in 2 weeks' time, and the cut is not out. That is number one. Why do I say it's disappointing? Because I have zero time to hype up anyone on the fight. Number one, I don't know who's going to fight, and number two, I don't know when the fight card is going to be out. So if like they were to say tomorrow, maybe I have a bit of 1 week.
The fighters that are in that already know who's fighting.
Who's fighting who?
The fighters who are fighting on the next generation Rebel FC card, they already know who they are. They've had a bit of notice.
All right. No, the thing is, the rumors are there as well. I as a journalist also have a lot of these rumors of having a local card in Rebel having a local card in Singapore, but it has always been hush. Yeah. Yeah.
Rebel are pretty secretive, man. Like they're keeping things pretty under wraps, and it's frustrating to some, as in like, oh man, we just want to know who's on the next big Rebel and who are they signing, who are all these rumors about who they're signing for their main event. And because I've heard the next one is going to be huge, you know, and the last one was a great card too, like we went over in the previous shows. So it is a bit frustrating, especially for you who just wants to kind of hear the news and put the news out.
Yep.
But man, like I guess that they've got a plan, you know. I personally would think that it would be cool to hype it up from months before. You know, it is a new show. You'd want to hype it up as much as you can, especially since they're not doing 6, 7, 8 shows a year, kind of like the other shows, ONE FC. That you'd think that they want to hype it up more. But they must have a plan, you know. I don't know what it could be though. Yeah, I'm sure you have a better idea than I do.
Well, the thing is, what I love about amateur events is just the unpredictability of it. You don't know who's gonna win, you don't know who's gonna lose, and when you put two amateur fighters, they are bound to just kick the shit out of each other, and that's what I've seen in the last Rebel event. Then that's what I love about MMA, putting two unknown guys in the ring and see what they can do. But when it comes to someone you already know and someone you have seen fought and you kind of can gauge the level, I want to talk about ONE FC this morning. I was quite disappointed with the Honor and Glory card because the card in Philippines was awesome.
Amazing.
Yes, the card in Philippines is amazing. I feel the only fight that is a squash match will be Jujev Nagaoka versus Jit Toshi. Basically because we saw how Jit did against one of our Singaporean girls, Nicole Chua, and she didn't do that well. And Jujev is a former boxing champion.
Yeah, but boxing is not MMA. You gotta remember that.
That's true, but I have a feeling that Jujev is just gonna run through Jit. But the whole card on Philippines is awesome.
Yeah.
Right, there's no squash matches. But when you look at Honor and Glory, we got Suman's favorite fighter, Ben Askren, headlining the card against a relatively unknown guy with a good record.
Is Ben Askren fighting? Oh, that's why I didn't care about ONE FC Honor and Glory.
And it's in Singapore, man. Come on. But okay, the thing is, I can't fault ONE FC for matching up Ben Askren with and a relatively unknown guy, because there's not much top level welterweights in the world right now outside or unemployed or as a free agent. So
Man, you should have just given the guy a title shot.
yeah, against Suzuki would be much more interesting, isn't it?
To be honest, like, okay, as much as I hate Ben Askren and all this stuff, he's 12-0. He was a Bellator champion. They're throwing him to some unknown guy. I've never watched the other guy fight. Saw his record. He was 11-2, which is a pretty good record. It's actually a really good record in MMA. It's a great record to have. You know, we might be able to see an upset or something. Where is his opponent from?
Uzbekistan, if I'm not wrong.
Uzbekistan. Okay.
Yeah.
Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, anything that's got a stan at the end of it, you got to be worried about. Man, they all come like I just see them all like the same. I just see them like Russians. You know, they not all of them have the best records even, but man, these guys can fight. You know, so I don't know. Like I said, it just seems like a bit of a, like you said, squash match. They're throwing someone to Ben Askren for him to leg hump, but yeah, like I wouldn't have complained if I saw him in a title shot. I would say, you know, he was the Bellator champion. He is 12-0, and who can say that if he goes into an immediate title shot that he doesn't deserve it? You know, his record does speak for itself. So if they could have given him that, I don't think he really needs to prove much to many people. He's already proved that he's boring as hell and he can hump someone's leg. So yeah, I think he could have got like an immediate title shot, but I guess we'll just see more of him. You know, hopefully he loses.
Nah, I feel it's a lose-lose situation for Askren.
Exactly, yeah, that as well.
Yeah, the thing is, he's okay. It's like a 99.9% that he's gonna win, but it's how he's going to win. And if he puts on a boring show, which everyone thinks he does, his stock gonna fall so deep down. Like nobody is gonna give a shit. Even the international market doesn't give a shit, because when Ben Askren did sign for ONE FC, there was a lot of hots. You know, like why didn't UFC sign him? Why he's considered one of the best welterweights in the world. And if he just leg humps this relatively unknown guy with a good record, then what does that make of him?
Shit.
Yeah, precisely.
It is a lose-lose situation for the guy that's fighting Ben Askren, right? It's a win-win situation, right? It's a good opportunity. Like great, good on him for taking up the fight. But someone like Ben Askren, he's gonna say, "Oh, I'm just gonna fight whoever was put in front of me." Man, for $50,000, you've just been handed like a big wad of cash. You know what I mean? Like he'll probably go on and say he doesn't care what people think, but he's put himself in a position where he even if he gets his hand raised, he won't really win. Even if he does win impressively, everyone's gonna say, "Man, we never even heard of this guy." You gotta every now and then you gotta silence the critics. Now, he hasn't really silenced the critics, even winning the Bellator championships and going undefeated. He never really silenced anyone. Everyone was just like, "Yeah, whatever. It's Ben Askren. Fuck off." You know? I don't know. You know, for some reason, like, no one ever says that about GSP. GSP won how many decisions in a row? But at the same time as winning all those decisions in a row, GSP mixed it up. There was a few fights where he used just a single jab to beat, like, Josh Koscheck.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, as much as people don't like that he doesn't finish fights, he is a genius. He goes in there with a game plan and he wins. You know, and he mixes up his game plan. And for me to watch GSP is like learning. It's studying for me. I'll watch GSP and I'll be like I'll watch a fight and I'll enjoy it. I watch GSP. I don't look to enjoy it. I look to learn from it. I watch Ben Askren. I don't want to do either. You know what I mean? So there's a big difference. Like, people have compared Ben Askren to GSP, and I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever heard, because I look up to GSP, and I would kick the shit out of Ben Askren for sleep. You know what I mean? Like GSP, if GSP was sleeping next to me and people were around, I told him to be quiet. You know, he's sleeping. I'd tuck him in or something. Ben Askren, he slept in front of me. I guarantee you, taking his wallet, taking his phone, kicking him in the feet. You know what's up?
All right, man. Enough about Askren for today. Talking about GSP, I've pimped GSP's documentary, which is, I think, is illegally uploaded on YouTube, but I don't give a fuck because I believe everyone should watch that. So I don't know if you watch it, the GSP documentary. I feel that it's good. Give it a watch if you love MMA, if you love GSP particularly. That's a documentary for you. But moving forward to Australia, I heard there's a Gladiators event.
Yeah, man. Gladiator Cage Fighting Championship. It was the 4th installment of the show.
Yep.
Man, like, we don't have many big name shows in Sydney, or New South Wales so much. Queensland has a lot of big shows. We got AFC in Melbourne, who've just moved down to New South Wales, but that's in Country Albury. So we don't have many big cage shows in Sydney, man. I'm telling you, Gladiators is probably the fast rising show. They had a sellout crowd. It was packed and it was passionate. You know what I mean? Like, the crowd was getting into the fights, and it was good. You know, it was about 20 minutes from my home, and a great local crowd, and some really good fights. I think there was only 4 professional fights. It was a 14-fight card, 10 amateur cards, but our amateurs are a bit different to, say, Singapore. Our amateurs are just like pro fights, except they're 3 3-minute rounds, and they're still with 4-ounce gloves and no shin pads. You know, everything's allowed except for elbows. You know, so we really get to see some entertaining fights. And like you said, the amateurs usually put on a more of a show than the pros do. Why? Because the amateurs don't think as much as the pros. When you get to a pro level, you make less mistakes, so you become more methodical about your approach and game plans and things like that. When you're an amateur fighter and you're pissed, like you're just shitting yourself to get in the ring and the bell rings, you just go for it because you don't know what else to do. So we saw some real entertaining fights, some good decisions, some good fights that went the distance. There was no mismatches from what I saw. You know, there was a lot of evenly based fights, maybe 1 or 2 fights where I was like, here we go. You know, but it was a real cool event. The event is put on by Tama Tahuna, the brother of UFC fighter James Tahuna. And man, yeah, we had James Tahuna there. We had a few other guys lingering around. It was a real cool show. My brother fought on the show, and another one of our amateur guys, Saeed, fought as a middleweight on the show too. Both our guys came out successful. It was a real cool night and some great fights. I can't wait for the video to come out. As you know, Australia in general are really slow with releasing their videos of fights. Man, like, they're just a bit delayed with everything like that. I don't know, it's the whole of Australia. It's not just 1 or 2 shows. It's pretty much every show. They're really delayed, but I can't wait for the videos of these fights to come out because, man, there's some entertaining fights all around. We saw in one of the fights a guy get slammed so hard he got put in a guillotine, and his way of getting out of it was slamming the guy through the canvas. Now the expression "slamming someone through the canvas," he slammed the guy so hard that the cage mat broke.
Wow.
Yeah, man, like this is crazy. Like there were two featherweight fighters, and it was a good fight. The first round, I thought, I looked at the fight and I thought, I know one of the fighters. He was fighting, and he's, I think, 5-1 as an amateur. He was fighting against a first timer, and I looked at it. I'm like, oh, it's a bit of a mismatch, even in size and height and everything.
Uh-huh.
And the guy that I knew that was 5-1 just beat the crap out of the other guy for the first round. Just beat him up. And he ended up surviving the first round. Second round, the guy that I knew had gassed himself out a bit, and the other guy started coming back. In the third round, it was back and forth, and then the guy that I thought was going to lose ends up getting this cool guillotine on, and his way of getting out of it was to slam the guy down. Now, when he slammed him, I'm telling you, it was one of the hardest slams I've ever seen in MMA, and it literally broke the canvas. They stopped the fight. Everyone rushed over, people rushed over from the event, and they pulled out the board from under the cage. The fight was halted for about 4 or 5 minutes, so it was pretty speedy in their recovery on fixing things. But they pulled it out, man. Nothing was wrong with the cage. The cage was put together perfectly, but the board that was under it, the wooden board, had snapped in half.
Wow.
Yeah, and they pulled it out, put a new board back in there straight away, and fixed it up and got the match going again. But man, it was a hard slam, and we saw a lot of cool knockouts, some cool submissions, and like I said, my guy Saeed, the middleweight fighter, won with the first round submission, and my brother won with the second round TKO as a professional. Now he's 3-0 with 3 finishes.
Talk me through the fight. I'm actually running the video of Ash here. There was a spinning back fist, an attempted spinning back fist. The footage, I can't see it that much.
Yeah, it landed square on his chin, man. I was right at the cage, and you don't realize in that video, when the bigger video comes out, when my brother had thrown the spinning back fist, and it's actually a technique that he's landed quite a few times in his last fight. He knocked someone out with it a few fights ago as well. He came up, and as he threw that spinning back fist, his wrist and hand got him square on the jaw, and I kind of seen the guy's eyes rolling a bit back, and I told him to go forward on it, and he went forward on it, and I think he was still dazed from that hit, and that's what started the finish. Or that was the beginning of the end of that fight. But that spinning back fist landed clean on his jaw, man.
Yeah, basically some knees and ground and pound, and
I thought in the first round the fight was going to be over. I'm actually going to note this. It was actually really good refereeing, because in the first round, if anyone's watched the fight, you see that my brother gets a big slam on him and takes him down. He ends up passing his guard, gets the side control, and man, when my brother passes your guard, usually you're finished there. If he passes your guard and it crucifixes you or something, you're in trouble, because he's a very big and strong bantamweight. And he passed his guard. The guy, he's an experienced guy as well. He started actually going for the he got back to his half guard and started straight away going for an electric chair sweep, which we've seen in the last Metamoris, and everyone started to talk about it. But because me and my brother had been watching that, my brother had worked from the position a bit. So as he was working from the electric chair sweep, he knew that he had to base his hips out long, and he had his head in a prime position and started dropping elbows and dropping hammer fists as well. Now, he had given him maybe 7 or 8 unanswered shots to the head, and then he started going harder, and the ref was actually telling him to move, and looked like the ref was going to stop the fight at that stage. But he didn't, and the kid recovered well, got back to his full guard, went back in his guard. My brother started trying to ground and pound. He slapped on a triangle. My brother lifted him, slammed him, and then hammer fisted his way out of it. and then went for a guillotine, ended up on his back, got back up, got another takedown towards the end of the round. One thing was, after the fight, my brother and I spoke to the referee, and my brother said to him, "How close were you to stopping that fight in the first round?" And he said to me, he goes, "Man, listen, I was really close. I was right there, and I was telling him to respond. But the thing was, my brother wasn't connecting directly with his elbow. It was more his forearm." And the referee acknowledged that. You know, the referee's like, "Man, if you were hitting him directly with your elbow that many times, 100% I would have stopped it much earlier. But because it was your forearm, I knew he could take a bit more, so I let it go on." My brother's like, "Yeah, that's cool." And then he turns around and he goes to my brother, "If you were on the bottom, would you have wanted that fight to go on?" And he goes, "Man, for sure. If you stopped that fight and if I was on the bottom, I would have been filthy at myself." Turns around and he goes, "I was going to give you guys the same opportunity. If you were in the bottom and the same thing happened to you, I was going to give you the same opportunity to go forward." So it was real good refereeing from the ref. Obviously, when my brother dropped him in the second round with the knee, and he was telling him to move, when my brother started trying to ground and pound him, he wasn't moving. My brother was just giving him short shots, short left hands, and the referee came and halted it. It was a good stoppage. The guy, Sebastian Taylor, his opponent, even said the same thing. He said he wasn't going to recover from it, and yeah, it was a good night.
You got the referee's name?
His name was... no, actually, you know what? I forgot his name. I was talking to him before, but no, I forgot his name. But you know what? A UFC referee was there too, overlooking. He was the head of all the referees, Jon Sharp. Big, bold guy.
Yep.
Real muscle. He referees for the UFC. Now, Jon Sharp overlooks... This is Jon Sharp's crew that he has with him.
Wow.
And Jon Sharp... I'm not going to speak for another guy. I'm not even going to mention his name. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who.
The worst Australian
Referee.
UFC
Yep.
referee. Yeah. But Jon Sharp, on the other hand, is the man. Now, Jon Sharp overlooks these guys, and man, his crew is great. The guys that he had on that night, he had 3 other referees. There was no mistakes in any of the fights, man. It was real smooth, good stoppages, good finishes, good refereeing, and yeah, like, it's credit to Jon Sharp. He's in my opinion the best referee in Australia, and from what I've seen, one of the top referees in the world. Man, I've been around the world. I've seen some referees. He's cool, super nice guy too, and he referees out of love for the sport. Jon Sharp himself is a BJJ practitioner. I think he's a purple belt in BJJ, and he does striking and things like that. And he really, really loves the sport. So he kind of understands the sport, and he gives everyone a fair go. Not only that, Jon actually donates all the money that he gets from refereeing to charity.
Wow.
Yeah, he whether it's for the UFC, I found out, whether it's for the UFC or even on Saturday night, Jon donated his money, the money that he got for refereeing, to a charity. Now, either it's FACA, which is Fighters Against Child Abuse Australia, which is a big organisation in Australia. He donates his money there, and he donates it to the Cancer Council, everything. He's a really nice, humble guy, and he just does this out of the kindness of his heart. And I love seeing him in the UFC. He is by far my favourite guy in the MMA industry in Australia, man. Real down-to-earth guy, and real cool. And it's great to hear someone actually give back to not just the MMA community, but to other charities as well. He says that the money that he gets from that, because he enjoys what he does, he doesn't put it in his own pocket. He gives it to charity. So good on him.
Man, that's awesome stuff.
Maybe Singapore would like to get a hold of him as well, man. Like, because I know he goes around the world and he's looking to do that. If Singapore, if Rebel, 1FC, anyone, man, Jon Sharp's your man. He brings a good crew of guys, and yeah, Jon Sharp's cool.
Yeah, man, that's an awesome story, man.
Yeah.
All right.
And he looks like a cop too, but he's not a cop. Yeah, I actually, because after Sam K's fight we caught the plane back to Sydney together.
Uh-huh.
And then from Sydney, we all actually caught the train back to our area, like of where we live. And we were sitting on the train with him, and we were talking and laughing. And him and Sam K were joking around. I was joking around with him, and I was like, "Hey, man, I got a question to ask you." And he's like, "Yeah, what's up?" I'm like, "Are you a cop?" And he's like, "Nah, man. How come everyone always says that?" I'm like, "Because, man, you look like a cop. You look like you're about to arrest me and all my brothers and all my friends, and you look like you're gonna hassle me." He's like, "Nah, man. I thought he was a cop, but he's actually probably the nicest guy I've ever met in my life."
Okay, bro, while you were saying that, we have some breaking news. UFC just released Jake Shields.
What?
Yep, UFC just released Jake Shields.
For losing to Hector Lombard, or is there something?
Alright, let's go on to MMA fighting and we'll see what's the story on. Yeah, it just came out 20 minutes ago.
Wow, that's big news.
And probably he's going to WSOF, I think.
Yeah, if not, ONE FC should sign him to have the most boring fight in MMA history with Askren.
Alright, Jake Shields has been released by the UFC. Jake appreciates the opportunities provided by the UFC and thanks Dana and Fertitta. Jake is an elite athlete who is one of the best welterweight fighters in the world. Jake and our team are already exploring options. I'm confident that Jake will have a new promotion to call home. I think he's gonna go to WSOF.
Yeah, man. I doubt he was gonna go to Bellator or something.
Yeah. Talking about WSOF, you heard about the Josh Burkman story?
Yeah. Saying he wanted to release because he was being mistreated as a fighter or some shit.
Yep. I don't know, man. Okay, the whole story goes is that he won by knockout and they were lining him up against either Palhares or Fitch. And I think that would be a great way to show the welterweight division of the WSOF. And all of a sudden he was saying there's no win bonus or something like that. But apparently it's something WSOF actually bent their back over just to get him to fight on the previous show. So I don't know, man. I don't think UFC gonna take Burkman back.
Nah.
That's the thing. So unless he's going to ONE FC, then it's understandable. Or maybe Bellator, I don't know.
You know what, but Bergman's been pretty good lately, like.
Except for the loss with Carl.
Yeah. Obviously, but he you gotta remember he did go in and he choked out John Fitch, which doesn't happen.
Yep.
You know, he put him to sleep. And then he came back and he had that nice knockout, and I think he's good, but he's not back to that UFC level. So I don't know. I think he just needs to stop being a baby. Keep fighting where he's fighting well. Like, even if he had that loss to Carl, he's still fighting well. Now, they must be doing something right, or he must be doing something right. Don't fuck with it.
Yep.
If you're doing well, don't like if I'm training well and I'm doing really well in training and everything, why should I mess that up and go to another gym? For example, you know what I mean? If I'm getting the right training, why would I go somewhere else? Now he's saying he's being mistreated, but I'm pretty sure he's getting paid pretty well. Even if he gets no win bonus or something, I'm pretty sure he gets a hefty paycheck.
Yeah, and the funny part is Vinny Mac actually came on into the discussion as well. You saw the UFC contract?
No, I didn't.
Okay, Vinny Mac actually screenshot his UFC contract. It was on Twitter for a while. It was like on Twitter for 1 and 2 minutes. Then after that, he took it down. I saw, for the first time ever in my life, I saw the front page of the UFC contract. And it was one fight. I don't remember who his opponent was, but he was offered 22-22, bro.
What?
Yep, Vinny Magalhaes was offered 22 to show, 22 to win.
Against who?
I don't remember his name, but yeah, he took down that screenshot. He was like trying to prove to WSOF, because apparently WSOF contacted him for an MMA fight. So he wanted WSOF to pay him as much as what UFC paid him. But and he said that WSOF only gives him 6 and 6, which he turned down. But It's 22-22 for fuck's sake. Vinny Mag. I can't believe it, man. Like, I know he's a big name in jiu-jitsu, but wow.
Vinny's cool. Like, man, Vinny had some bad losses. From what I've seen, I think Vinny's just one of those guys that when push comes to shove, he doesn't shine so much. He does really well until everyone expects him to do really well. He's a bit lackluster sometimes, man. When I was watching him fight in I think it was the M1, he was on fire.
All right, I remember the guy he fought is Anthony Perosh. He was paid 22-22 to fight Anthony Perosh.
Anthony Perosh is shit.
And he lost.
He got knocked out, yeah. Like, that was a fight he should have never lost. Oh, man. I was so disappointed. I'm an Australian, and I was disappointed to see Anthony Perosh win. Because I knew that was the end of Vinny. And I love Vinny. I think he's one of my heroes from BJJ. And I like seeing him in the UFC. And fuck, man, get him to Asia. That guy's worth his money. He's a big name. Okay, maybe he's not worth 22 and 22, but he's cool. You know, he could still be relevant if he gets his head in the right place. But 22 and 22 is crazy, like for Vinny.
Yep.
But I saw the last fighters pay for the
WSOF.
Yeah, WSOF. Was it Paul Harris who got paid like 50 grand?
Yep.
Yeah, man. He got 25 to show, 25 to win. Now that's a good pay. That's a great pay. Especially for someone who looks to injure other fighters that you have on your It's a risky pay. Man, it really is a risky pay. But then I saw what his opponent got paid. What did Carl get paid?
I don't remember what Carl get paid.
Something horrible. Right, I think it might have been like 6 and 6 or some shit.
Yeah.
But I looked down, like lower in the card, right? Now I saw like the average fight pay would have been 1 and 1, 1,500, and I saw one fighter got paid $500.
Wow.
Man, the WSOF, you got paid $500. You fight on a local show in Australia, you get more than that. You like, if one of my male fighters got offered $500, I'm stabbing someone in the neck. I think that's ridiculous, especially for one of the biggest shows in the world.
Okay. What's the guy's pro record? You remember?
No, but no matter what.
Okay, if it's 0-0, will you take a $500 fight?
No, because I have amateurs get paid more than that.
Precisely.
I have amateurs, myself included. I have amateurs that make over $1,500 a fight.
Wow. Okay, this news have to come out, and the Singaporean and Malaysian scene have to hear about this. Come on, let's talk about that.
All right. Well, the thing is, let's all be honest. It's I don't know how it is in Singapore, but in Australia, it's illegal to get paid for fights. It's for amateur fights.
Okay.
If you're an amateur, because they say the only difference between an amateur and a professional is that you get paid, and that's what makes you a professional. Now, that's not true, because if you're a professional in Australia, you do 5-minute rounds and you get elbowed in the face. There's a bit of a difference there. Now, for amateurs, the way a lot of promoters do it is they give you tickets, and they say, hey, sell these $60 tickets, keep $10-15 a ticket. Now, my way of doing things is I don't do that. I tell them, listen, my guy is guaranteed to bring this many people in the door. My guy's a headliner for this and this show. And I talk to them and I told them that this is what my guy brings for your show. Now, I have a few guys that get, I have some guys, my amateurs, my young 16-year-olds, who get $300-400 a fight. You know? Just because I say to them, listen, they're going to bring 40 people in the door. Don't worry about giving them tickets to sell. Just trust what I say, and we'll see. We'll see if you're disappointed at the end of the night. Everyone knows that all our Australian top team guys bring in a crowd. So what happens at the end of the night, the promoter's so happy he even gives them a bonus.
Wow.
You know? There's times when I've spoken to promoters and they've been like, how can I be sure you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do that? And I'm just like, man, well, if you want our fighters on the show, you're gonna see. And they know what our fighters bring. They bring a good show, they bring a good crowd, and they don't miss weight. You know, and even as an amateur, the last thing you want is for two guys to be training real hard, one guy to miss weight, and the fight to fall apart. So I give them that guarantee that the fight is going to make weight. They don't make weight, they don't get paid anything. So it could mean the difference between $0 and $1,000. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I told them, like, I remember one of my fights, and the reason I got paid this, and people won't like me saying it, I went up weight to fight. I went up to, obviously everyone knows I take short notice fights and all the time being stupid. I took a fight at 75 kilos or something, and I fought another guy who was a former boxing champion and he was undefeated. I took the fight and the promoter said to me, how much do you want? You know, and I think the first thing he said to me was, yeah, I'll give you $300 for it. I turned around to him and I'm like, keep your $300, right? Take that back, put $1,000 on the table, right? Once you put $1,000 on the table, right? You can give me a 750 win bonus. He said no to the 750 win bonus. I go, okay, you give me 1,000, give me 500 win bonus. And he couldn't find anyone else to fight the guy. And he knew that guy sells tickets and I sell tickets. And he wasn't paying the other guy. So $1,500 to get 150 people in the door really isn't, he's still making money. These promoters are still making money. And they got to realize, whether it's professional or amateur, if I'm an amateur, that means I've got a day job. That means if I get bashed and I break my hand, I'm out of work for a few weeks.
Yep.
No matter what, anything can happen in MMA, whether it's professional or amateur, you can break your leg, break your neck, you could die. We signed contracts at the start of it saying that anything that happens to us is our own fault, blah, 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 blah. If I break my neck, it's under my own responsibility. If I'm saying that, man, I want a bit of security that I'm going to get paid something. At least my medical bills, if I get cut and I have to go pay an ambulance or whatever, get stitches, could be $400, $500, $300. I don't know how much it is in Singapore, but it would cost us like $400 in Australia to just get some stitches sometimes.
All right.
So I'd want that security that when I'm fighting, I'm looked after the fight. And I keep putting it on the promoters, and most promoters with me are at least pretty good. Some people are fuckwits, and that's why I don't deal with their shows anymore, because they claim to be all about the fighter, but really they're just money-hungry fucking idiots who just care about their own pocket. And let me tell you something. If someone is making a couple $1,000s of me getting my face bashed in, I'm going to make sure that I take something out of their pocket too. That's how I look at it.
I think that's fair, bro.
I don't let anyone make money, because what do, right? When I'm on a show usually, or a lot of my Australian top team guys, first thing they say to me, hey man, send us photos of your guy. I go, okay, no worries. Send them photos of my guy. What does he do? He makes a new poster, he puts it on Facebook, and he goes, fighting at this and this show, for this and this time, undefeated fighter, or young star, this, that, promoting my guy. Wow, that's great. But why? They're promoting it for their own pocket. Now, if you're going to sell my guy's name, if you're going to look for my guy to bleed in the cage, and half of the time, setting my guy up to fight your guy, because a lot of these promoters own gyms. Now, if you're going to set my guys up to lose, and that's what they do, they kind of pick and choose fights, these promoters, for their own guy to win. And let's say, the whole world does it. The whole world, whether it's ONE FC or whether it's all these professional shows, they know in their mind who's going to win usually, right? If they're going to set my guy up like that but promote him so all his friends and family come to watch him to lose, you can guarantee I'm going to fucking take something out of your pocket. I think it's stupid, and a lot of these promoters saying, amateur fighters, like they try and pull the whole amateur fighters don't legally get paid. Man, you guys try and weasel your way out of every corner to save money, right? And you want to fucking talk that bullshit with me. Fuck that. Really, there's some good promoters out there. There are some, like I always put up statuses. Most of my statuses are about promoters. There's good fighters out there. There's good coaches out there. There's good promoters out there. And then there's a small community of fucking fuckwits, right? Who just ruin it for everyone. And that's including the fighter, who lies about their records and things like that. It's including the coach who is just not being upfront with the promoter. Like, listen, if you want your guy to get an easy fight, you want him to come back and work his way in, build his record or something, don't lie to the promoter, because then it becomes a big misunderstanding and it becomes real hard. If you want that, just say it. You know, if you're a bitch, just say it. You know, you know what I mean? Like, there's too many guys saying, listen, my guy's gonna have his first MMA fight. Oh, has he fought anything else? Nah, not really. And then you go back and you find out the guy's had about 30 amateur boxing fights. He's a amateur kickboxing champion and all this shit. And you're like, hey, wait a minute. And they go, oh, but it's his first MMA fight. You know? And I'm like, dude, you could have just given me that information and we would have gone past this. Or by saying, oh, my guy's got no grappling. Next thing you know, he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, black belt in judo. You know? Man, if one of my guys' records come up, I'm very upfront, and that's pro-am records. I give my guys pro-am records, kickboxing, boxing, and everything. Now, there's one promoter who tried to say once that I lied to him by saying it was over a girl, and he goes to me, it was over a female fight. I mean, it's pretty funny.
All right.
This female fighter of ours had 3 boxing fights. Now, my girl had lost. Right? So I didn't jump up or down or anything about it. Now the promoter had 50 quid of nothing. Our girl being, oh, that's right. It was spelling of the name. I said the girl's name off, and it was Natasha Bremer. I wrote 1 M, but it turns out her name is actually spelled with 2 M's at Bremer. Right? And there was this big uproar about it, and he wrote all these things about how I lied to him about who my girl was, and I was like, man, I told you that this girl had boxed. I told you can go look up her name. And he's like, yeah, but you gave me the wrong name. I'm like, man, Google fixes that shit. You know, when you type someone's name in wrong, it gives you other options. All right, I'm very sorry that I left an M out of her last name. But I told you that this girl had fought, and he said to me that I lied and said that because she was a pro boxer, that makes her a pro MMA fighter.
What the
In
fuck?
Australia, no, it doesn't. All right.
Oh man.
Now they're trying to change the rules over that. So if you've registered as a pro in any sport, like boxing, kickboxing, or anything, you're a pro MMA fighter automatically. But we had asked the Combat Sports Authority, and we asked them if that was all right. They said that we're not at fault at all with this. They said that everything's fine, and they even said Matt Travers from Kyoshi MMA is a fucking idiot. He's already been in trouble with the Combat Sports Authority many times for sanctioning illegal fights. Now, he's come up and started bad-mouthing me. I'm pretty sure I told him his mum's a whore. Told him to stop sleeping with his sister. A lot of hurtful things I said to him. But that's just how I am. He keeps that. And this is the funniest part about it, right? He had a show not long ago. Don't care. He deleted me off. He wrote all these things, and I got into this big Facebook argument. And what did the bitch do? Just like my ex-girlfriend, he deleted me on Facebook. All right? Which I think is fucking childish. All right? Were you scared I'm gonna like one of your photos? Or you scared I'm gonna like try and crack onto your daughter or something? I don't know. So he deletes me on Facebook, and then I get a call not long ago, just before his last show, and it's from one of my friends. And he says to me, man, what's going on with you and this guy? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's over. Like, he hasn't said anything in months. He's like, man, he's blasting you on Facebook. Someone had started a fake account of his name and gone to all the fighters on his show and told them the show is cancelled.
Oh,
now,
fuck.
Like I said at the start of the show, I'm not very smart. And I'm not really bothered. I'm probably the laziest person you ever meet. And I find that going on to Facebook and making a new account and messaging all these people saying the show's cancelled, you're real childish, and I wouldn't bother doing it. And he wrote on Facebook that, oh yeah, whoever's done this is fucking idiot, blah 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 blah, bad nothing. And he goes, I bet it was that fuckwit from ATT, little shit still angry or something like that. All he hates is that I'm 21 years old and I have a much more successful gym than him, and the only person he's sleeping with is his sister. Now, in saying this, the one loss that I had in my career was to one of his guys. Now, I'm not bitter about that. The one loss I had was to one of his guys. Everyone knows I fight at featherweight, and I even fight at bantamweight. Now, I took a fight on at 75 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
And his guy cut down. I walk around at 72 kilos. So there was a bit of a size difference. We'll just say a bit of a size difference. And I felt that, and he won. He TKO'd me. I was standing, and he was giving me too many shots that I was taking, and the ref came and called it off. Not arguing with the ref's decision. Whatever. Probably would have knocked me out. But I didn't care about that, you know? It was an experience for me. It was a test for me. And he thinks that all these things that I'm saying is bitter because I lost. No, it's not. I kept dealing with him and his gym even after I lost. I didn't care about that. And he says that he really likes to go by the book and all this stuff, and that everyone on his show has to go by the combat sports and blah 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 blah. He seems to forget that he paid me $1,000 under the table to take that fight. You know, if he wants to go so much by the book, then I guess he didn't really do the right thing by paying me and all my other fighters actually for that thing to put him on the show. Now, whether a promoter hears this and says I don't want him on my show or anything because I'm bad mouthing him, no, I don't do this about anyone else except for him. Every other promoter loves me. Ask any promoter, right? They all think that I'm cool. If you ask any promoter in Australia, they all know what I'm like. But Matt Travers is a fuckwit. No, this show shouldn't even be about him. I hope that you die slowly and painfully.
Oh my God, Suman.
I hate you more than Ben Askren.
All right.
That's hurtful.
All right, man. Interesting discussion you put up there about fighters' wages and how promoters treat fighters and so on and so forth.
Fighters deserve to get paid, regardless. We're putting ourselves in that situation. Yes, we do it for the love of our sport, but whether it's $100, $200 or something, man, to cut weight and to go on a diet and everything, that week leading up, we get our fight shorts prepared. Not every guy has sponsors. It costs money. You know, whether it's a professional or amateur, you deserve to get paid. Obviously, professionals deserve to get paid more, but even amateurs deserve to get paid. Now, I fought for free. Money's not my factor for fighting. I've been paid $1,000 to fight. I've been paid $1,500. I've been paid $1,750 to fight.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been paid, and that's quite a lot. A lot of professionals don't get paid that much. I've been paid that much to fight because I don't like promoters taking advantage of me. But at the same time, if the promoter is good with me and I want to fight on that show, I'm gonna fight for free. Just look after me. You know what I mean? I don't care about getting paid that money. Pay for my taxi to the weigh-ins. You know, treat me like a professional fighter at least, and I'll fight. Treat me like you do, like the other big names. Don't treat me like I'm a piece of shit just because I'm an amateur. That's all I ask for. You know, as long as I'm treated like everyone else as the professionals, because that's why I fight. I want to be treated like one of those guys, the high-end guys. As long as you treat me like that, I don't give a fuck if you pay me $1,000, $10,000. As long as I'm fighting. But if you pay me $1,000, I might do some shit. I might do some crazy shit.
All right, man. I love this discussion, and I believe this would be very worthy to write an article on, especially for those in Singapore and Malaysians to open their eyes up on how fighters are being paid and why fighters should get paid. And it's great, man. And while you were talking, news have been coming in left and right. I just got news that 2 more Evolve guys will be fighting at Honor and Glory, which will be Bruno, Pucci, and Singaporean very own Radeem Rahman. Justin Rebel FC CEO, just came on Facebook, and he told me that he will come on next week for the show.
Oh, wow. That's cool. That's a big one for our show.
Yeah, he was asking who's on the chat today, and I was saying Suman, and this is what it basically he said, and you will see it later. The evidence. He said, Suman the Warrior, bet he's extremely upbeat this week. So, Mr. Suman, why are you upbeat this week?
Ah. Hey, man, don't put me in this position. Hey, I'm always upbeat. Everyone knows me. I'm never like a quiet guy. I'm just an upbeat guy. But obviously, my last Rebel fight has given me some opportunities, and like I said, there's promoters out there who care for the fighter, who look after the fighter, who notice things happening. Now, I can't say too much on it, but the everything that's happened in the last few months, I'm really grateful for, and yeah, you.
Okay, Suman, how about this? How about we say Suman Mukhtarian will be back in Singapore?
Who am I fighting for? Nah, listen. I would love to be back in. I'd love to be back in Singapore. God willing, I will be back in Singapore. But nothing's a certainty. You know what I mean? Even if you sign something, you never know. I could, knock on wood, something bad could happen tomorrow, and I could break my leg. So hopefully you see me in Singapore by mid-year, and we'll get that ATT special going on.
Awesome.
You know, I can guarantee. I'll guarantee. Asia hasn't seen the last or heard the last of me. Singapore hasn't heard or seen the last of me. Guarantee you, whatever show I come back on, or if I get the opportunity through something, I hope Mr. Justin gives me an opportunity to fight on his show. But if I get the opportunity to come back, I'm gonna come back ready. I'm gonna come back real hungry. I want to get back in there, and I want to put on a show for you guys, you know. Like I said, winning, losing, right now, it doesn't make a difference for me as long as everyone's talking. All right, and I guarantee you after my next fight, everyone will be talking.
All right, man. Awesome. That's something you can speak directly to Justin next week on the show.
Yeah, I'm gonna message him after this about that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know what Justin's always got some plan. Justin's a cool guy. You know what? Justin's actually a real cool guy. He messages me every now and then on Facebook, and just he's even sent me a message, and it's cool. Like, he just said, "Hey, how are ya?" You know, and that was cool. I got to speak to Justin a bit more, and obviously I fought on Rebel 1, and he told me how much he liked my fight, and he loved it, and yeah, it's good to see like a bit of appreciation back from like another promoter, owner like Justin, you know. Like I said, I want to fight in Asia, I want to fight in Singapore, I want to fight around the world. I want to get my name out, and it's cool that someone like that in a show as well as Rebel I got the opportunity to fight on is keeping in contact.
All right, man. Awesome. Moving from MMA, I want to move a bit to kickboxing. Glory 15 next week.
Yes.
Wow, we got Spong, we got Saki, we got Corbett. Everyone thinks that Spong's gonna win the whole tournament, but I don't know, man. There might be another rematch with Corbett, or a fight with Saki at the finals would be very, very interesting. What do you think?
Spong and Saki finals.
And then Spong taking it for the win.
Yeah, look, Spong to me, I think it was you that wrote today's status. You know, he's gonna be bigger than Badr Hari.
Yep.
Man, he's the man. Spong is like one of my favorite fighters to watch. You look at his fight when he fought Nathan Corbett like years ago, when that was controversial fight.
K1.
When he lost the controversial fight to Corbett, when Corbett knocked him out, and then Corbett hit him after the ref tried to wave the fight off.
Yep.
Well, since then, you've seen the difference in Corbett, and Corbett came back and he killed Corbett. Spong killed Corbett the last time they fought.
Yep.
Spong has taken a level up. he's changed his game. Not changed his game. He's just become a lot harder. He's a lot more bigger. He's a lot more powerful, and I think he's the best K1 kickboxer in the world at the moment. Pound for pound.
I can't disagree with that, man.
Yeah, man. I think he's pound for pound the coolest kickboxer. I love watching him fight. And man, I like watching him fight MMA. Even if he fights a bum, I still want to watch him fight. Man, he fought some guys that just wanted to take punches in the WSOF. That was cool to watch. Don't care. As long as I'm watching some high-level striking from Spong, he can fight every bum he wants. But when it comes to K1 kickboxing, yeah, like we've seen what he can do, and he's going to do it time and time again. Saki, I think, is going to beat the crap out of Corbett. As good as Corbett is, I don't think he's at that elite level. Even though a lot of people will criticize me for saying that, saying he won so many fights in a row and then he lost to Spong, and you want to say that, and he's from Australia. I think Corbett is an unbelievable fighter, but I don't think he's at a Gurkhan Saki or Tyrone Spong level anymore. Maybe back in the day, but not now.
All right, man. I just can't wait for that fight. Talking about Spong becoming the next big star. He's not just a good fighter. He have the total package. He have the personality. He have the character. He's the Black Badahari.
Seen the body on that guy?
Yeah.
He's ripped and he's massive, and hey, everyone loves a good tattoo. He's got some tattoo. You know, he just looks like what a promoter wants. You know what I mean? If you when you go to fight shows, every now and then you like to see the geeky guy come out and just jump in the cage or jump in the ring and just beat the crap out of the other guy. But when you look at a fight poster or something and you see like this massive tattooed, scary looking guy, that catches people, you know.
You reminded me of Gilbert Wyvell.
Oh, well, Gilbert Ivel was ugly as shit. Gilbert Ivel was big and scary, tattooed, neck tattooed and everything, but he's ugly. If a girl looks at Tyrone Spong, they'd say, yeah, he's pretty good looking.
Yep.
You know? So the girls see that, they're like, oh, that guy, look how big and black and chiseled he is. Oh, I want to see him sweat a bit. You know? It's not a strip show, girls. It's a fight. And so the girls will come to the fight, and the guys, they look at this guy, they're like, man, I either want this guy to get his ass kicked or I want him to kick some ass, you know? Could go either way. But yeah, that's what promoters want as well. Like some tattooed, scary-looking guys. I swear, like a lot of promoters like putting my brother on posters because he's just big and beefy, and he's got this stupid rat's tail that he's growing at the back of his hair, and he's got all these tattoos. He's got his whole neck tattooed, and he's got his jaw tattooed. And yeah, and I don't really have many tattoos, and people are like, oh, you look real nice. You don't look much like a fighter. You know, my brother supposedly looks like the fighter, so promoters want him on posters.
Yeah, wait till you see him in the cage, man.
Man, what did you think about his performance on the weekend?
Honestly, from the way the fight has been put, I thought it was a squash match. Your brother just like ran through him.
Yeah. Well, see, the other guy, Sebastian Taylor, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'd seen him fight before, and this is probably one of the most worried I've ever been before a fight. Because I've seen him fight live, and he's got a win over a guy in Australia, right?
Yep.
Now, this guy in Australia, his name is Luke Morris. You probably never even heard of him. Now, Luke Morris has a record of like 3-5 or 3-4, I think, which people would say, oh, that's not a very good record. But then you look at his record, right? And you look at the guys that he's versed. Now, he's versed the best guys in Australia, the best guys that have had to offer. So he hasn't looked to really protect his record or anything, and he went and fought it. He fought Ben Yun from Tiger Muay Thai, who fought at Nitro and knocked out the Nitro champ in 25 seconds.
Yep.
He went 5 rounds and lost a split decision to Ben.
Oh.
Now he's real good. Now the guy that my brother had versed, he actually beat Luke Morris as well, and he beat him around the same time that Ben beat him. And the guy that my brother versed, Sebastian Taylor, had beaten him in, I think, a minute 20 with a triangle. You know? And Luke Morris is a great wrestler, and he's a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he got subbed like nothing. You know? He's a UMMA bantamweight champion, and most of his wins aren't on Shoutout, but he's had a lot of fights that like aren't Shoutout recognized, but he's had quite a few fights, and the kid's a gamer. He actually fought against another guy that's from our gym. His name's Shane Parker. Shane is a Commonwealth Games wrestler, a 5-time national champion wrestler. He's real good. He fought Shane, and he actually dropped Shane twice in the fight, and like had him sent him through the ropes. That's how bad he dropped him. So we knew that he was a dangerous guy. And people had said that he's got some power in his hands, some strong kicks. But when my brother had gone up against him, different from all his last fights, he didn't throw a single kick. You know, in all his other fights, he'd been kicking people's heads and things like that. Nah, didn't do it. And then he's known as a guard and a ground guy. And my brother seemed to have just shut him down. I was pretty nervous before the fight, but after the first round, I was pretty calm. And a lot of people thought my brother can't make bantamweight. He made it really easy. He actually made bantamweight so easy that he was drinking water on the day of his weigh-in.
Wow.
Which is funny for someone his size. I don't know if you've seen a photo of him. He's quite large for a bantamweight.
Yep.
But yeah, he'd walk through his opponent. So yeah, like we're gonna get a few step-ups in competition now. 3-0, 3 finishes, and see who's next. You know, there's a few guys that we're looking for in Queensland. Some Australian-ranked guys. That would be great fights, and hey, maybe one day we'll see him in Singapore. Hopefully, someone catches on to him.
Yeah, man, get him up in Singapore and make him fight some Koreans or Japanese or something.
Yeah, man, he'll fight. He'll love to come down to Singapore and fight. He was always jealous that I got on the Rebel. He was like, "How the hell do you?" He's like, "How the hell do you not train and then go to Rebel?" You know, he was saying all this stuff. He's like, "Man, I work my ass off." He actually trains 3 times a day. He wakes up in the morning, probably 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, goes for a run, comes back. He'll rest for about an hour or two. He'll go to do his boxing training with his coach Lincoln Hudson, who's actually James Tahuna's boxing coach. So he trains with like James Tahuna and a few other guys. Ross Pearson trains with them as well when he's in Australia. And he'll come back, rest for a few more hours. Then by 3 o'clock, go for another run. Come back, do some wrestling, do some kickboxing pads with our coach. And then he'll always do every night do his jiu-jitsu classes as well. He does his wrestling, does his jiu-jitsu. And yeah, he's a good fighter. Like, obviously it's one thing hearing it from me. You'll see him get better as the competition steps up. He's one of those guys. He always performs on the day, always does things for the crowd, always lands a spinning back kick or a spinning back fist, and always gets submissions. I think he's all up had like 15 fights or something and finished every one of them.
Bro, you were saying about his routine. I believe that's a stark contrast to your routine.
My routine? It's the complete opposite. If you really want to know my routine, I'll tell you what it is. Honestly, I'll stay up until about 3 or 4 at night. Just because I saw Floyd Mayweather does that. But the difference is Floyd Mayweather trains at night. I just thought, hey, there must be some reason he stays up late at night.
Alright.
So my routine is to stay up really late at night and study fighting. Then I'll sleep until about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Alright, nah, that's not true. I'll sleep until about 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then I'll get up, and probably by 3 o'clock I'll get to the gym, do my pad work, or do some bag work and things like that. I'll teach at 4 o'clock. I teach kids jiu-jitsu. And then after that, if we've got a class, I do my wrestling 3 times a week. I do my jiu-jitsu every single night. It's religion to me. And I'll do my striking every night. I do train 4 or 5 hours a day. Now, the difference with me and my brother is he spans it out throughout the day. He trains an hour or two in the morning, then he'll train an hour or two in the afternoon, and then like an hour at the end of the night. Me, I kind of like to sleep in, and then I'll come and I'll do my 3-4 hours of training all together. I don't know. I just feel more comfortable like that, and it's never affected me like bad. Like I'm still learning. A lot of people are like, man, I can't back up classes. I do 3 classes back to back. I do 4 classes back to back, and I'm fine. You know, obviously when I go to Thailand, my training changes because I get away from the phone calls. I get away from the gym and things like that. So when I go to Thailand, I train morning, evening, afternoon, night. You know, like I'll do 4 sessions a day, and I'll spread them out throughout the day. But for some reason, when I'm at home, I just prefer to train for the 4-5 hours solid. I've got the day to kind of go around, do my shopping, hang out with whoever. At the end of the night, after I finish training, I can go hang out with my girlfriend or do whatever as well. I come to the gym, I train, and then I leave. My brother never leaves. You know, that's the difference. And that's the difference with me and a professional fighter, obviously, as well. He used to do the same thing as me, not sleep in, but he used to train when he was at the gym. Now he trains wherever he is. And he's going to be something to deal with in the future. I'd love to see him in Singapore, and I can guarantee he won't let down the crowd.
Yeah, man. I just love to. I watch most of the fight videos you put on, and I believe all ATT guys. The one thing ATT guys have in common is they put on exciting fights.
Yeah, man. Like one thing, my brother, because me and my brother, we're the head coaches. As much as we've got a jiu-jitsu coach, we've got our kickboxing coaches. We're the main motivators and for the gym. Like we're the hype guys. You know, if you see all the guys from Mike's gym, you know, you see Fat Mike shouting at all his guys when they're walking out. When they're having their kickboxing fights, Badr Hari he's yelling in his ear and things like that, or Tyrone Spong. That's me and my brother. You know, we're hyping our guys up before they fight. And one thing my brother always says, earn your money, you know, or make promoters want to pay you to get you back on their show. We let our fighters fight for free on shows sometimes, and then we tell the promoter, if he puts on a good show, you're going to give him a bonus. We tell our fighters to fight for that bonus. We tell them to put on an entertaining show. Win or lose, we want a crowd cheering. You know, we don't look to grind out boring decisions. We go for the finish, and that's the one thing that we try and always implement, a finish. Like I said, from our 16-year-olds, 15, 16-year-olds, all the way to our 30-year-olds, we tell our guys, go in there and have fun. Do what you do at training. That's why we always have stupid, crazy things. If you see the things that are going on at ATT training, you'll never want to leave this place. Today, I saw guys they were doing a wrestling class, which I thought involved wrestling. But I was like doing the warm-up, and then out of nowhere, I see our wrestling coach, who's kind of short, you know, a bit shorter than me, standing, and he was having the other Iranian wrestlers and Commonwealth wrestlers sprint up and jump and roll over him as he's standing, you know. Or we'll do like high jump competitions in the gym just to see who's more athletic or something like that. We're always doing crazy things, and it reflects in our fights. Because our guys train so hard, they become comfortable in that ring, and they want to throw it. That's why they throw things like a Sanchai kick or flying arm bars, flying triangles, and that's what promoters want to see. If we want to get paid, we got to give back as well. You know, there's no point of pulling an Askren and people not liking you. I would hate if someone ever wrote on Facebook it was a boring.
Suman, pulling an Askren should be patented.
Oh man, it's gonna be in the dictionary soon.
No, but the thing I'm interested about is that I believe all the pro fighters in ATT are full time. Do they have a day job?
What do you mean by full time?
Full time fighters meaning they don't have a day job. All they do is just train and fight.
No, not true. Actually, probably my brother's probably the only full time fighter. We have maybe 10 pros in the gym. They all have jobs. And why? It's because man, money. They've got families to care for and things like that. Sam K, who's one of our top fighters, one of our good guys, one of our most entertaining heavyweights. He works 7 days a week, even weekends. He works and then comes to the gym and trains at night. He wakes up at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, trains works until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then he comes straight to the gym.
Wow.
Yeah, we got Darwin Sagart, same thing. He works from 6 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon and comes straight from the gym. A lot of our guys are like that, and I know even guys in the UFC still have their day jobs.
Yep.
You know, we're not Floyd Mayweather. We don't get that type of money.
Stipe Miocic is a firefighter and he's still a
Yeah.
firefighter.
Yeah, see, that's cool. Like some people do it as just to stay active and things, but a lot of guys, especially in Australia, they have to do it. You know, Ash doesn't. My brother doesn't do it, obviously, because we own the gym and he does his personal training and things like that. But that's not a full-time job. That's just part-time job for him to help out. You know, he's got a kid. Sam K has a kid on the way. And most of these guys have families. We've got our young guys, our 16-year-olds, the ones that are full-time fighters, not the professional. They're amateurs and they're the full-time fighters. Some of them have dropped out of school just to train full-time.
Wow.
You know? Yeah, so we've got some kids really going for it. Not the smartest choice. We try and tell all our guys. I even tell my young guys they need to get a job to kind of keep their stability. There's a few guys that I've told them now, if they leave school, they're not welcome back to the gym. Just some things, because I don't want parents to think that this gym is taken away from their life. Even though fighting may be their life, I tell them to all have a backup plan, and I think that it's needed. I think a backup plan is needed in this world. Not everyone gets the privilege of being able to sleep in or train in the mornings. So I think those fighters that do have a job really make the most of it. It's sometimes hard. They might not put on a better performance or something, but they really they know they work harder for it. You know, I've realized some fighters really work hard for it.
Now, talking about sports in general, I think it's because MMA is still a growing sport. You can't compare it to maybe sports like football or soccer, when even the lowest of the low are getting good pay just to
Yeah,
kick ball. Sooner or later, I believe MMA will come to that point. But as of now, it's hard unless you are a top fighter in the UFC. Even if you're like fighting in the undercard, I don't think that you could make a living out just by fighting in the UFC.
If you're getting paid 6-6, 6-6 for a fight, show and win, and you get 3 fights a year. That's maximum. You win all 3 fights. That's 36 grand. That's not a lot of money. It's not much money at all, especially if you got a family and things to care for.
Yep.
And that's why it's really hard for fighters to make the most of it. But how much do you think the promoters are getting paid? They're making 30-40 grand. Like I know local shows are making, the promoter's making 30-40 grand in his own pocket.
I'm not too sure about how much
How much do you reckon the UFC profit of every show?
I believe at least 200% of their expenses.
Yeah, well, you'd think they'd be able to pay the fighters a bit more.
Yeah, precisely.
And I think the UFC is believing too much in we need the UFC or something. Man, you need the fighter, because without the fighter, you're nothing. But the UFC thinks they've gotten so big that they can just say, "Oh, if you don't fight, then someone else is going to take your place. Or if someone else takes that place, they might not be as good." You know?
Talking about that, bro. Since you're saying that people are saying UFC need them, who wants to watch Big Knock versus Roy Nelson?
Not me.
Precisely, but the thing, no, but the smart thing is that they placing it in Abu Dhabi. The last time UFC went to that area was like 2-3 years ago when Anderson Silva was dancing 5 rounds with Damian Maia.
Yeah, I think.
So I believe, I believe, despite the uninteresting prospect of this fight, I believe it's still a step up with the 5 rounds of dancing, isn't it?
Yeah, but see, I don't know. I like that show. I liked the UFC Abu Dhabi until that fight.
Yeah, like BJ Penn
Penn,
and
Frank-
Frankie Edgar. It was a great fight.
Even Matt Hughes and Renzo Gracie.
Yep.
But that was still a draw. You gotta remember, Renzo Gracie's the man. He was a tough dude, and even though Matt Hughes TKO'd him, it was still an entertaining fight to watch. You know, when Renzo Gracie would be on his back and he'd kind of ask for Matt Hughes to pick him up. Still entertaining. And then all that Anderson Silva stuff happened, but man, like as much as we say Anderson Silva was dancing around, let's look at Maia's face at the end of that fight.
Yeah.
He still laid a beating on him, no matter what he did, and just made Maia look silly. I think that they owed it to Abu Dhabi to put on an entertaining fight at the end of that. I think it would have been a better choice to put Hendo and Shogun in Abu Dhabi than it would have been to be in Brazil. Even though Shogun is Brazilian, I think that Abu Dhabi, like they deserve a big fight like that. They had a big sellout crowd their last show. Why not give them something to sell out again? You know, they know they're gonna sell out the show, so they're not gonna put on as much of an entertaining fight. That's how I look.
The thing is, did you watch the UFC 20th anniversary on how UFC actually came to Abu Dhabi? It was.
I watched it, but I can't remember exactly.
Okay, the whole thing was it was one of their prince's requests to have a UFC show in Abu Dhabi, and you know, in the Middle East, when you are the prince or you are the king, if what they want happens, and they pay every single shit, like they fucking set up a stadium in the middle of a desert just for UFC.
Yep.
They
The Ferrari Stadium.
My God, these guys are crazy, man. I'm telling you.
The money that they have is just ridiculous, and I would really love to see a bigger show put on by someone in Abu Dhabi. You know, man, like I just think it's amazing that someone could have so much power that they could tell the UFC what to do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's a showing that the UFC aren't as powerful as they think, because they've got a little prince saying they want a UFC. Hey, bring the UFC. Imagine if there was a prince in Melbourne, Australia, who said, you know what? Take the cage ban off, bring the UFC to Melbourne, Australia. Let's have that happen. Someone so powerful, bitching and tell them Dana White what to do.
Talking about that, I heard news that UFC is going to have a show in Adelaide very soon.
Oh, what? That's boring.
Oh, come on, it's near your place. Like, I have to fly to go to Adelaide, man, just to watch UFC.
Man, I was born in Adelaide.
Uh-huh.
Anyone didn't know that. Now, I was born in South Australia, Adelaide. I was born there. I lived there until I was like 5 or 6 years old. Most of my family live in Adelaide. Now, Adelaide MMA is shit.
Yeah, you had Adelaide Down Under, MMA Down Under, isn't it? The same day as Gladiators.
Yeah, and it is low level.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna say that there. I haven't watched too much. I watched a bit of their show. But Adelaide's MMA, from what I've seen, isn't as strong as say Sydney or Queensland or even Melbourne. You know, it's kind of the weaker. But I know that it would sell out. Adelaide's kind of. We say that Melbourne is a few years in front of Sydney fashion-wise. Adelaide is about 10 years behind Sydney. You know, they're a bit behind on everything. So let's see if the UFC can help spice things up. But there's a lot of guys who tap out shirts that don't really know a lot about MMA in Adelaide.
Yeah, and I heard Adelaide and I heard New Zealand as well. In 2015.
New Zealand would be cool. I think New Zealand deserves to have a show. New Zealand have a lot of hard heads that love their MMA. So yeah, it'll be cool to see a show in New Zealand. But please do not make The Ultimate Fighter New Zealand. I would not want to watch that. I would just see a lot of guys drinking and getting angry and beating everyone else up.
Nah, if UFC were to have a show in New Zealand, the first thing that they have to do is to have the All Blacks do the haka.
The haka, yeah, that's it, man. Do you know any news on when have they started filming The Ultimate Fighter 19 with Frankie Edgar and BJ Penn?
Not yet, if I'm not wrong, not yet.
Okay, now I saw that they put out the list of fighters who were fighting to be onto the show. They had 32. They had 31 guys named. Now they have said there's one special guest. I don't know if you've seen that.
I one special guest for.
As in, remember how in season 10 they had Kimbo Slice come into the house?
Okay, there's this one fighter that they have not revealed yet, isn't it?
Exactly, and
And
they're making.
everyone was thinking it's Ben
bigger-
Askren.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
which will never happen.
I was excited to watch The Ultimate Fighter 19. Yeah, like I was just wondering if you had any idea who it could be, because I have no clue.
I'm not too sure as well. Like I don't know. People were saying CM Punk.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, because CM Punk is Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
What belt is he?
If I'm not wrong, he's blue, purple, around there.
Cool.
Yep.
Because I was looking at that list. Now, you might know a bit more about this than I do. I saw that Nordin Taleb was on the list of fighters.
Yes.
Now, he is just competed in the Ultimate Fighter Australia vs. Canada.
Yes.
And he had lost. Now, I thought that if you've been on the Ultimate Fighter before, you're not allowed to reapply.
But not for him. Yeah, people were actually bitching about it. People were not happy of that decision, but
No, I don't mind.
yeah,
Give the guy-
I don't mind as well.
I don't really mind because they had big raps on the guy. So, and I know Tyler Manawara is a good fighter, and he may not have fought the best he did. Nordin, I'm talking about. But yeah, I was just wondering, was there a rule or something that you can't, or obviously you can?
There is no stipulated rule saying that you can't. So I think UFC just
Gave
do
him
it.
another shot,
Yeah.
you know. But I was just thinking, wouldn't it like, does that bring people to watch your show again, or should they have just given him a UFC fight on the finale? Maybe I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
I don't know. Apparently, what UFC did maybe is something that they have already planned for. The thing is the problem with it is I don't think BJ Frankie 3. I don't know, man. I think Frankie's just gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But you gotta remember, I love BJ Penn.
I
love
BJ Penn too.
BJ Penn.
Yep.
And we don't like to see him get his ass beat like we did against Nick Diaz and against Rory McDonald. But supposedly he's looking real good at 145 and could be good. You know. Let's see how it all pans out. I just want to see BJ Penn get back in the ring. The Ultimate Fighter 19 is cool. People may take this the wrong way. Now, I am kind of disappointed that Anthony Pettis and Gilbert Melendez are the coaches for the Ultimate Fighter, the 115 female pound division.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I'm disappointed for that is because I want to see them bully and boss around guys. I want to see how they react to other males, because I think that if they're coaching females, there's not going to be as much of a feud going on, you know what I mean? It's going to be like kind of like them just chilling back. Like if they're doing it with guys, they get to kind of get the emotion of the guys, and we know the guys cry more than the girls do.
Yeah.
Right? We've noticed we saw, man, the girls in the last Ultimate Fighter put on a great show. I think they even, some of them outshined some of the guys. I think the girls got the fight of the show. The Raquel Pennington got the fight of the show with forgot the other girl's name. But yeah. So it doesn't. I'm not saying like because the guys are better or anything. I'm saying because I want to see the emotion of a guy bitching and seeing Anthony Pettis go off at him. I think if Anthony Pettis sees a little girl who's 115 pounds crying or something happens, he's going to like try and hug her or something. I don't want to see a hug. I want to see you say, hey, man the fuck up. All right, I don't care if your hand's hurting. Get back to training. Or some shit like that. I think they're just going to, like, I don't know. I think the show is going to be really nice. And I don't want to see nice. I want to see people getting angry and house fights and things like that.
But I'm gonna. One thing is for sure. I have a feeling that the 115 ladies are going to put on a hell of a show. They have great fighters from Invicta down there.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of girls.
Rousey Kamajunas, if I'm not wrong, that girl just beat one girl with a flying armbar in less than 1 minute.
Yep.
There are very, very good girls down there. And talking about that, Kyra Gracie just says that she wants to fight in 115 after pregnancy. Yeah, so talking and moving on towards the women's division, Dana White just said that he doesn't want to sign Cyborg.
I'm over the whole Cyborg talk. You either sign her or you don't sign her. You know what I mean? I couldn't see.
You watch a Muay Thai fight?
Yeah, I watched a Muay Thai fight, but you know, I think too many people are ripping on it. Muay Thai is different. You know what I mean? People are ripping on her for losing that Muay Thai fight, and that was a good fight.
It was a outstanding girl fight.
Yeah, like that was a really, really good fight, and I don't think that it does her much damage losing that fight. Like, so it's a different sport. Let's see how Ronda Rousey would have done fighting a girl. Honestly, bring any of those girls, they would have fucking got knocked out in the first round.
Yeah, Jelena Bass would kill any UFC girl.
Cyborg's tough, man. She got fucking hit and cracked and dropped, and she came back and she did well. You know, so I doubt any of those other girls would have done a better job. But Holly Holm, on the other hand,
wow, that girl.
Sign that girl. I'm sick of people not wanting to sign that girl.
Dana doesn't want to sign that girl.
I don't see why Dana doesn't want to sign her. If you're going to not sign Cyborg, you know why? I'm telling you now, Dana White secretly wants to sleep with Ronda Rousey or even if he has. I don't know.
No, but the thing is, okay.
He's in love with Ronda Rousey, we all know it.
He's going to meet up with Gina Carano. Okay, as much as Gina is a star and she's gonna fill up seats, and Gina versus Rousey is like going to be sort of quote unquote biggest woman fight in the world, Rousey gonna kill her, man.
Rousey's gonna kill her because Gina Carano's been doing too many movies and things like that. But in saying that, how hot would that be? I think it would be a smoking fight, and reality is people are gonna buy that. You know, people will love to see the return of Gina Carano. Gina Carano is actually the first female fighter that I really watched.
Me too.
I never really watched. I didn't even know they had females MMA back in. She's been retired though, or like out of the sport longer than I've actually been doing the sport. You know, when I started watching it, I was like, oh, look at this girl, she's MMA. I'm going to click on her. Started watching her fights. I'm like, damn, she's hot. She was like my first MMA crush.
All right.
Sure she was for you too.
Yeah. I can't deny that.
Yeah, she was my first MMA crush. And then I kind of like, I was like, oh, yeah, no, she's out of the sport. She's got her ass beat by Cyborg. And then I just kind of fell in love with Misha Tate. Even though she's got a big nose, I was down for her still.
Oh,
you know,
Misha is hot, dude.
Yeah, Misha's hot. But you know what? Like that, I even think like some people like Rousey, some people don't. I still think Rousey's sexy because of what she does. You know, and I might say I'm a bit of a sucker for her cauliflower ears. Some guys are like, nah, man, I don't want my woman to have cauliflower ears. Kind of hot. I'm like, man, that girl's got some dedication. She'll judo throw the shit out of me. She'll armbar me. She can do whatever she wants. I think it's hot. My girlfriend is like hearing me say that, and she's like, yeah, you want to go with cauliflower ears, huh? But it's cool. I couldn't care for my hair. But if someone was, okay, I've had my friends do some pretty messed up things to me, right? Just out of joking, and I'm the best person. I can take jokes. I don't take a lot serious. I don't get angry very often. But if someone like Akira Kurosani, who everyone didn't like, came into my room at night and shaved my head, I can guarantee you I'm teeping him to his face and I'm knocking his teeth out.
And then you're gonna make out with Rousey.
So, listen, Misha Tate's boyfriend is a bitch. Ronda Rousey's boyfriend, Mr. Dana White. We all know what's going on there. But at the same time, I think she's ripped in between Edmund and Dana. She doesn't know who she loves more. It's cute. Women's MMA, I'm all for it. You know, like I think lately the women have been putting on better fights than the males have. I like watching. I like watching Jessica I fight. I like watching. I like watching Holly Holm fight, even though she's not in the UFC. I like watching Rousey fight. I like Mish Tate fighting. I like all these girls. I think the inclusion of females MMA into the UFC has been something different, and it's something exciting too. I see them upstaging the guys more often now, you know, and it's good to see. Like I said, they're all fighting for respect, and they're looking to be recognized, and they're doing a pretty good job of it.
Well, the thing is, I would like to make a statement. The only show I would like to see Rousey fight Carano would be on WrestleMania. No UFC show, because everyone knows Rousey gonna kick Carano's ass. That's one thing. The next fight I would like to see Rousey in is hopefully with Kyra Gracie in Metamoris.
Yeah, man.
I think that would be a huge fight.
Man, I don't know. I can't. Kyra Gracie is the shit.
Yep.
She's hard as hell too. Yeah.
And he's probably the best Gracie right now after all the Gracie shit that's been happening in the media.
Oh man, Rousey's fucking. I don't know, man. Like, I think she's just incredible. I think she's a Rubik's cube that can't be solved. You know what I mean? And you know what the worst part about it for all these females is? It's something I'm realizing. Rousey's becoming a better and better striker than she has been before. Now, before she was a one-trick pony, and she was doing all of it. Now, I'm looking at her hit pads, and I'm seeing videos of her sparring, and then she comes out and she knees and drops Alexis Davis, I think it was, and all this stuff. But she's getting better and better, and I think the time of girls being able to beat her and her time running out has kind of expired more. I think her stock has risen, and she looks like less and less chance of losing every fight now, to me. Even against Misha Tate, I never thought she was going to lose.
As much as I hate Rousey, I cannot deny the fact that, yes, she's improving much in striking, but the ultimate striker MMA match that Legacy is going to hold hopefully very soon by this year is Holly Holmes versus Cristiano Cyborg.
Yeah, man, that would be fucking amazing. I think Holly Holmes beats her as much as Cyborg will take the fight to her. Cyborg's aggressive, and she's got some power. But man, I think Holly is legit, you know. And I think anyone who denies that is fooling himself. I think she's good, and I think that that Mr. Dana White is kind of protecting Rousey a bit.
I believe it's going to be a technique power matchup, and that will be the fight that going to push Legacy up as a promotion.
Yeah, man. Like Legacy have always have some pretty good fighters. Leonard Garcia still fights for them, right?
Yeah.
Now Leonard Garcia, some people will say he isn't a technical fighter, but hey, everyone likes to watching him fight, and he fights on Legacy. If he's fighting on Legacy, I'm watching it. You know, to me he's exciting. As much as he just has no technique and swings for the fences, I find him exciting. If Leonard Garcia came to Singapore, and there was a joke about this that was made, if he ever comes to Singapore and I was to turn professional, I would love to fight Leonard Garcia in my first fight. that'd be an awesome fight. You know,
Will you
I just
swing? Will you just go in and swing for the fences, or are you going to go methodical on Leonard
listen.
Garcia?
You can go methodical on Leonard Garcia, and then he'll crack you once, and then you're gonna be like, fuck this. I'll swing for the fences. I don't give. I'll swing because he's a jiu-jitsu black belt,
Yep.
right? So even though he's not known for it, his jiu-jitsu is probably well, he is better than mine. All right. So what? How much smarter would it be for me to take him down? Probably not much smarter for me to take him down, even if my wrestling could take him down. So let's do a 50-50. Well, let's do it like a 90 to 10 chance. I'm the 10% chance. So let's swing and I land a lucky punch. I'd rather go for that than trying to grapple with him. You know what I mean? I just love that fight. I really look up to Leonard. Since even that fight with Roger Huerta where they just fucking went for it, you know. It's cool. Like those are the fighters that I really like watching, and those are the fighters that I'd one day want to fight. Train until your rivals become your opponents. You know what I mean? Like that's how I see it.
Yeah, man, that's cool, man. Last one quickly. Kawajiri, Clay Guida.
Sorry, what was that?
Uh,
Oh
thoughts
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. Kawajiri versus Clay Guida. Mister, I'm gonna call out Jose Aldo after one performance.
Dude, he's
Like,
a legend in the sport, man. Come on.
I know he's a legend. Don't call out. So is Jose Aldo. I think that he needed to obviously win a few more fights. I don't ever see him fighting Jose Aldo. But hey, it will be a good match because obviously Kawajiri on the floor is just a beast.
Yep.
So dominant, and his control is so good. And Clay Guida is scrappy, man. Clay Guida, he scrambles great. His wrestling is great. I remember like seeing him take it, to Dos Anjos,
Yep.
who's a great BJJ black belt, Gracie Barra black belt, who's one of the, in my opinion, one of the top 5 guys in the lightweight division. And I saw him take it to him, and seeing that performance from Clay Guida, that's how I want to see him fight all the time. I don't really want him to fight like he did against Gray Maynard. Now, if he fights the way he did against Dos Anjos, I think that he'll be too quick to scramble. His cardio will be too much for Kawajiri to handle, and he'll end up outworking Kawajiri for that win. I see it going to a decision Clay Guida's way, but I don't see him having too many problems in that fight.
All right, man. I think that's it for today. Next week we're gonna have a Rebel FC CEO Justin on, and I'm gonna hype the shit out of it. I'm going to make sure that the whole fucking Facebook knows that he's going to be on, and I want all the promoters, I mean all the fighters, all the managers, coaches, fans, shoot him with questions. I want to just shoot him next week. So.
All right. No one's gonna shoot Justin. Justin's cool, all right? You know what I mean?
Nah, shoot
Nah.
him with questions, man.
Oh yeah, okay. I was like, man, how do you Singaporeans get down, man? You try to shoot each other. He's the promoter. I'm like, he's not a bad guy. What are you trying to do?
Ah, he's a cool guy, but he has been too secretive for too long, and it's time we give him some hard questions for him to
Man,
answer live.
this isn't very smart. You're saying this now, but you say this so much. He's not gonna come on the show next week now.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. But
Uh.
because the thing is, he spoke to me on Facebook. The Facebook text was live stream, and I have that. And he says that he will be on. And I told him that it was this conversation is actually being streamed live, so he better come on. So he will have to come on. He's a man of his word. So
Well, listen, anyone who one day wants to get onto Rebel, guys that respect Rebel, want to see what it's about, hear it from the mouth of Justin. You know, I'm sure he will answer some questions. He will. I'm sure he's going to give out a few secrets on everything that's happened and letting us know about everything. So tune in, guys. This will be a big thing, and this will probably be one of our top shows and one of our biggest guests on. We haven't had any promoters onto this show, and the promoter of Rebel FC, which is going to be one of Singapore's major and big shows. It'll be cool to hear it from him, see what he's got planned, and like what he said. Shoot him with some questions you want to hear from Justin, and I'm sure I'll be secretly putting in a few questions of my own anonymously to ask him. Who are you getting from Australia? Huh? Who are you looking forward to seeing fight? There's some crazy questions, and we might even be throwing some dream matchups out to him and see what he thinks about them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun show next week, man.
Like I said, Justin's cool. Justin speaks to people as if he's a friend of yours. That's what's real cool about him. Even after my last fight, he came up and he thanked me, and he congratulated me for my fight, which I don't really get from a lot of promoters. Like promoters that actually like me even. But it was cool to hear from him, and like I said, if you're gonna hear from one guy, Justin's a cool guy to hear from.
All right, man. So what's up in Australia next this week? What do we have?
This weekend, I think I have my first weekend off in a while again. I don't have anything on this weekend, which is a nice change. But like obviously this past weekend, we went 2 from 2 at Gladiator. We had the Wrestling State Championships, which we had 5 guys enter. 5 of them got gold medals.
That's sick, man.
Yeah, man. Like our wrestling team is probably one of our strongest teams, and it's a credit to our coach Hakan. We've got 2 Commonwealth Games wrestlers here. We've got a former Olympic wrestler here. We've got some like 5 Iranian national wrestlers here. Real cool team. So that's it. But a lot of fights have been organized in the last week. For coming weeks, we have one of our young guys, 16-year-old, fighting for the Australian K1 kickboxing title. Trent Girdham, Mr. Sanchai Kick. He's been offered an Australian title kick. We got Raymart Quintana, who's from the Philippines. He's fighting for an Australian title as well. We have a couple of state titles coming up. And yeah, so there's a lot of big news, a lot of fight nights coming up in Australia, but I think I've got the weekend off. So I guess for Australian top team on Saturday, we got some sparring.
All right, any Australians, new Australian top team, the sparring, so come down and get your ass kicked. So.
Yeah, man, hey, we spar every Saturday, every Wednesday night. You always see different faces pop up. Rob Lasita's in Phuket right now, but he always pops in and spars and beats someone up and leaves. And so it's cool. We got some big names, and we always have guys from different gyms. I always have guys from different gyms secretly messaging me and saying, "Hey man, like I want to come down and spar, but I can't let my coaches know," which is really a shame. But I'm like, "Yeah, man, come down." So we welcome everyone to come down and spar with us. We're pretty inviting. Our guys are pretty friendly. We don't secretly tell all our other guys to beat up on you. It's just all like help. I'm working for a bigger picture. Australian top team guys don't fight each other, spar against each other, thinking, "Man, I could fight this guy one day." Our guys think, "Hey, man, if this guy's coming to spar with us, he's helping me get to a world stage," and that's how it is. In America, you've got all the best guys training together at camps. You got the Black Zillions, you got Greg Jacksons, where they have all these beasts training together, and that's what we need in Australia. We need all the best guys training together so we can compete at an elite level with all the elite guys. And that's the bigger picture. The world stage is the bigger picture, not the Australian stage. So if all the Australians, in Sydney especially, all the guys from around here, if we can all get together, let's all work together and work ourselves to the world stage. Man, I don't care if I train with I don't care if I do care if I train with someone, but if I've sparred with someone, I'm not worried about fighting them one day. It's just my training partners that I wouldn't ever want to fight. Sparring's nothing to me. Sparring's just getting a workout for myself and other people. You need to spar with different people.
Alright, man, it's been awesome having you on the show. I believe next week's show is going to be even more awesome having Justin on.
Epic.
It's going to be epic. We'll talk about a little bit about UFC Fight Night 40 and Glory. I believe it will be more on Glory because I just love Tyrone Spong. Thanks again, Suman, for being on the show. See you guys next week.
Anytime, man. Thank you, bro. Bye.
Alright, bye.